In ancient Greece, whenever a city was ravaged by war, this affliction was attributed to Enyo, a fearsome and powerful entity known as the destroyer of cities, and one of the fiercest personifications of war. Often equated and even confused with the god of war Ares, Enyo was regarded as his inseparable battlefield partner, epitomizing the chaos and utter destruction inherent in armed conflict. Her presence brought out one of the darkest sides of war, where there is no room for mercy or strategy, only merciless annihilation. Enyo not only embodied sheer violence and bloodshed, but also the destruction of entire civilizations, the devastating force responsible for laying cities to waste and turning battlefields into graveyards. Together with Ares, she enshrined war in its purest and most terrifying guise, an untamed and unstoppable element in the ancient Greeks' life and death cycle. Enyo was not just a warrior, she personified the absolute destruction brought about by war, particularly for cities, which in ancient times stood for the heart of civilizations. In wartime, cities were seen as strongholds of culture, economy, and power. To destroy a city meant the collapse of an entire society. As such, Enyo, the destroyer of cities, is a symbol of the unrelenting might of war that leaves no stone unturned, shattering great metropolises into rubble and rendering vibrant places into barren wastelands. Enyo had a significant role in several mythological battles, when her presence meant rampant chaos and destruction. For instance, Enyo is seen in the Trojan War as a driving force behind the horrors unfolding throughout the siege. Her influence can be felt in the extent to which the violence escalates, leading to brutal acts that go beyond plain military strategy and become outright massacres. Once the Greeks had invaded the city using the famous Trojan horse, Enyo encouraged the warriors to perpetrate barbaric deeds of extreme brutality, which led to Troy's collapse. Enyo was closely related to Keres, personifications of violent death on the battlefield. Both represented the darkest and direst elements of war. However, while the Keres were viewed as the ones who gathered the souls of the dead, Enyo was the active force behind such widespread death and destruction. The Keres were perceived as the heirs to the destruction sown by Enyo. She brought chaos and slaughter, whereupon the Keres arrived to lay claim to all that remained, devouring the souls of the fallen. The symbiotic relationship between Enyo and the Keres emphasizes the endless cycle of death and destruction of war. Together they embody its brutal essence, where the blood drawn by Enyo feeds the Keres' ravenous thirst. Enyo, the destroyer of cities, cemented her place in Greek mythology as a powerful and haunting figure, embodying the unfettered wrath and unstoppable destruction that war could bring. Her intimate connection with Ares and her proximity to the Keres highlighted her vital role in conflict and devastation myths. She not only took stakes in the battles, but decisively shaped them, igniting chaos that turned cities into ruins and laid waste to entire civilizations. She stood for one of the darkest and most inevitable aspects of war, where strategy and honor yield to sheer butchery and outright devastation.